ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
It's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma.
it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he. And you are now. This is hidden. Soft version. Sorry. Just trying out something. Anyway, welcome to Head with Brian Parker. I am he, and we are back for another week. Thanks for joining us. We are streaming live and direct on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, LinkedIn, Facebook Live, as well as YouTube. Please join us on Empower TV on YouTube. Please give us a like, also share, but most importantly, please subscribe. Always helps with the algorithms and helps get our show out there in the universe. Also, if you are one of those 1 million people that just cut their cords from Spectrum over the last month or so, as they reported, hey, you're looking for some more content? Well, you're in luck. You can go to Roku, you can go to Amazon Fire and get a lot of free streaming on there, but also you can add channels. And one of the channels you can add is in Power. It is like it sounds, the letter N, the word power. Put that in, add us. That way you can not only catch this show, but you can also check out Head to Head Sports, which features me and my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove, every single week during the football season, where we break down and recap the goings on in the National Football League. Had a really, really good time with that yesterday. And we're just not even halfway through the season yet. And it is definitely been full of surprises and twists and turns, to say the least. Want to welcome in my co-host, Lordy Parker. How you doing, Lordy?
I'm doing awesome. Happy Thursday.
All right. Happy Thursday with the headphones. And, well, let's look here. Look at this title that we got now. We got Mr. The Bick for Jermaine Parker Realty LLC joining us as he's taking time out of his day from selling homes and all kinds of things. And we like to welcome him to the show. He's also the guy that gets our international ratings up, Mr. World Extraordinaire, none other than the franchise, Mr. Jermaine Parker. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay. Your mic is a little low, but I can hear you just the same. Just your mic volume. I know if you were just doing that for a sexier ambiance or what, but
Not really.
You see, he got the purple background in the back, or it's
Yeah.
now yellow or green or blue.
it's changing, Lori.
Yeah, I'm trying to, spice up my background. For the fans. I will eventually get to hanging those pictures actually on the wall.
It's getting louder. We can hear you a little bit better now.
You can hear me better?
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Lori? Is that going to work?
How about now?
Yeah, definitely. You must have a control, a little box over there.
I got a small stripper midget that does my audio. So.
Oh, really? I'm trying to get one of those too, but I can't find anything under $9.99.
Mine was half price.
I was thinking if I waited until that Amazon on the 10th and 11th, that Amazon Prime days, it may have come down, but it wasn't part of the Amazon. Look at Lori. Lori's just so loud. She don't know what to say. Man, y'all, this has been a crazy, crazy week. This has been a crazy, crazy month. This has been a crazy, crazy year. So much is just going on. And then recently, I'll just go backwards, I guess, because one of the biggest stories today, Jermaine, I saw your flag on not YouTube, Facebook. So we'll talk about that too if you want. And then a lot of the shenanigans going on in the House, just all kinds of crazy stuff. Uh, Updates going on in New York with the civil trial by Letitia James, Trump's gag orders, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And I also want to squeeze in some Will and Jada. So let's see how much of that we can get through. So today, I knew this was going to happen. I really did, and I'm expecting to hear another announcement sometime tonight or first thing in the morning along those same lines. But if everybody remembers, Fonnie Willis, the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, had said earlier in the year that charges were imminent because of a special purpose grand jury and then a grand jury that she had presented some evidence to. And it was really expected way back in March that she was going to come out with some charges against Donald Trump and any other co-defendants involved in this election tampering that was going on as related to Fulton County. I mean, not just Fulton County, Georgia, but the state of Georgia, involving trying to elicit pressure campaigns to get people to help and try to overturn the election and tilt it towards Donald Trump. And that got kind of delayed for a while, and a lot of folks didn't understand what was happening. Well, turns out what was really happening was Fonnie Willis was tightening all the screws because she wanted to make sure, because Georgia has a very, very weird speedy trial law, that once somebody asks for a speedy trial, they either have to have that trial in the current court cycle or the very next one. And court cycles in Georgia are 2 months long. So she brought these charges, I believe it was the end of August. I think that's what it was. So and they were already, when she brought it, into the second month of the court cycle. So technically she would have September and October court cycle to bring any speedy trial charges. And really what speedy trials basically mean is that everyone's entitled to a fair trial. They can ask for even a speedier trial. And two defendants, Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell, decided, you know what, we're going to sit there and ask for the speedy trial because we don't think she's ready. She just brought these charges. Is she really ready for her defense? Well, Fonnie Willis sat there and said, you know what, I've been ready technically since March and April, but I'm going to wait till August and have everything ready in the event that I got to bring a speedy trial against either all 19 defendants or if a few of them peel off from those 19. And I think they weren't really ready for Fonnie Willis, or they didn't think she was really ready for them, and they stepped in it. And so basically she says, okay. And the Judge McAfee said, hey, you want a speed trial? You got it. How's October 23rd? Everybody good with that? October 23rd, which literally gave them about 6 weeks. DA, you gonna be ready by then? Oh yeah, I'm ready right now. We can go today. She was just ready. She said, as a matter of fact, why bull crap it? Bring them all in. I'll do all 19 at one time, which was very ambitious. And it was like, okay, that's not really gonna go anywhere because number one, logistically, you can't get 19 co-defendants all in one place. You can't get their representatives in one place. You can't get enough deputies for security reasons all in one place. It would just be impossible. You'd have to do it, I don't know, where the Atlanta Hawks play. You have to do it in their arena. So that's basically the way you can do it. There's no venue in a court proceeding that would be able to let you do that. And with the number of motions and back and forths and stuff like that, it would be a madhouse. But that's what a prosecutor is supposed to say, is to present the thing of, hey, I'm ready to go now. So he peeled off Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesebro and said, no, those two will go. And then what they may end up doing, if necessary, and I'll get back to that in a second, is break them off into smaller groups. So there would have been 17 remaining, but one of the guys, Bell's bondsman, already pled out a couple of weeks ago. So that left the remaining 16. See, it's already going from 19 to now 16. So those remaining 16, if they do not plead, will end up probably being broken out into smaller groups. Well, so what's been happening over the last 6 weeks is Kenneth Chesebro, more so than Sidney Powell, have been putting out um, motion after motion after motion, trying to get the charges dismissed, trying to get things suppressed as far as the evidence is concerned. And those have all been heard. Judge McAfee has written his denials and then attached his notes and everything to it to let them know not only is it denied, but here's why, and this based on this precedent and so on and so forth. So he's gone through all of that. Well, like I said, the actual trial he's set for the 23rd, but jury deliberation is scheduled to start on the 20th, which if you're watching this show live, that is tomorrow. So Sidney Powell did a Hail Mary motion just the other day, and it just got denied yesterday. As soon as it got denied, I said she's about to plead because she has no more bullets in the chamber. She's empty. She fired all she could. There's nothing else left, and she's gonna, because if she tries to go to trial, the problem is that she'd be looking at some serious jail time, minimum 5 years in jail. What ended up happening today? She reached a plea agreement with the DA for those charges to be turned into misdemeanors. She's going to get 6 years of probation. She has to pay a $6,000 fine, $1,000 per charge. She has to write a letter of apology to state of Georgia, I believe. And she also, as a term of her plea, which is basically admitting that the charges were correct, is that she has to agree to testify fully and truthfully over any related trials that will be coming up, including trials against her other co-defendants, including one Donald Trump. That's a lot. So I knew she was going to plead because she had no other leg to stand on. Now the misdemeanors mean that she's going to actually be on 6 years of probation as opposed to being in the pokey for that long. She won't have to serve a day in jail, but if she violates her agreement, she could end up in jail if she does not keep her part of the bargain with regards to testifying fully and truthfully in all upcoming proceedings. So she has basically bowed out. Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell were at one point trying to sever their cases from each other instead of having to appear in Fulton County, Georgia together. But as part of the RICO, whether or not you had anything to do with the other person's part, you're all combined together. And that's what the judge McAfee held early on in this. Now it's been severed because she's pled out. So now, in my opinion, Chesebro has filed a lot of motions. They've all been denied. I think now that he's seen Sidney Powell basically plead, I would be shocked if he didn't plead. Now, when they were having some trials, and here's the good thing about Georgia that's different than federal trials. Everything's televised. So you get to watch it. You get to see it firsthand. You don't have to hear a reporter come out, give their account of it. You don't have to hear Donald Trump at a rally shading what happened and giving mistruths about what was actually said and everything else. You get to hear it from the horse's mouth. And it's really, really good that way. Federal proceedings don't allow for cameras in the courtroom, which they really should reconsider. So even if Chesebro does decide to go through with the trial, the jury selections will start tomorrow. You will not see the jury. You'll just hear the proceedings of the jury, but you will see the judge and everybody else there. But to protect potential jurors and the actual jurors, you will not see the actual jurors. I just don't think that Chesebro. Now, what I heard though, y'all, is that they had offered him a plea, but they weren't all misdemeanors. I believe one of the charges was going to be a felony, and he is a practicing attorney. And if he has a felony, it's very likely that he'll be disbarred. Even with misdemeanors, and Sidney Powell is going to have a conversation with the bar that she's affiliated with, um, as to why she should be able to keep her license. She could still lose it with those misdemeanors, but if she has a felony, it's going to be almost certain that she loses it. So there's a small gap in between those two scenarios, just like the bail bondsman that pled out to the misdemeanors. He did that because if he ended up with felonies, he wouldn't be able to be a bail bondsman anymore, and that's his livelihood. So that's why he pled out. He knew that he had no uh, legal ground to stand on, and all he was going to get at the end of the day was jail time, a felony charge, and a loss of his ability to do what he's done for so long anymore. I know that's a lot. I'm gonna let y'all jump in. What y'all think about the Sidney Powell flip today?
I think that we talked about this, like I said, back in August,
Yeah.
and we kind of we joked when they made this whole speedy trial motion that they were severely underestimating the prosecutor in this case, and that she was going to be ready for them, and it was not going to turn out the way that they thought it was going to turn out.
Mhm.
That they were, but honestly, and I think it's the only gamble that they had
Yeah.
because I think that there's enough evidence, and especially when you've been criming, you were criming, right? Uh, I think that there was a the only way to get out of it was to her not be ready.
Right.
And I think Sydney found that out too, and all her motions and stuff. Oh wait, she's got evidence, because once they say we're going to trial and stuff, well now we're we're looking for evidence and we're exchanging evidence and stuff like that, and they get to see what it is that they have. And she
Hmm.
showed her hand, and they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, um, yeah, that was me."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're right, because they have to then present evidence for discovery so they can prepare their defense. And they were
yeah,
like, "Well, ain't no way in the world she's gonna be ready in those 6 weeks and get the discovery over. And
yeah,
if she's not ready, then the charges are immediately dropped and they
yep,
cannot be retried for it."
yep,
So that was their Hail Mary.
yeah, and from the beginning. But I mean, so today's predictable, but we called it 2 months ago.
We did.
Um, we said this was going to happen. It's happening that way, and just like most criminal trials of this nature, RICO charges and stuff like that, um, they actually help the prosecution out because, like we're talking about, it's impossible to try that many people at the same time. And the
Mhm.
way this works is that you want to get the bottom feeders first, so they'll flip.
Right.
So Sydney, in the black community, you have just turned state. Um, and so she's state property now, and she's gonna have to, if she wants to stay out of jail, which she does.
Yeah.
None of these people want. A lot of people want to be associated with power and stuff, but nobody actually wants to go to jail for it.
Right.
And so it's really just for this should be for Donald Trump, and your opinion about it too. I think this should be a sign for him that it's caving in. Like all the criminal trials that he's going through right now, maybe the biggest one for me is the one in New York, where he's probably not going to be able to do business in that state anymore. He's going to lose all his stuff. And
Yeah.
he's very, very prideful about his money and stuff. Um, I mean, not so much that he won't beg poor Republicans for money to fund his defense, but I mean, this should be one of those flares that goes up for his camp. Like, hey, maybe sooner than later, we should start talking and seeing what we can work out for ourselves. Maybe we can flip this thing and we start throwing like, I didn't know what was going on in my organization. I'm just at the top of the organization instead of trying to hold all the way out to the end. Like, well, you can't do anything to me. I don't think that bravado is going to fly well for him. I think if he was to look at this for what it truly is and go, you know what, I need to flip on everybody else before they flip on me.
Right. And you're right. And Lori, I'll let you jump in on that. I saw you were ready. But yeah, and that's the whole idea is the longer you wait to flip, the less either they may even come to you back and say, "Nah, we're good. We
Mm-hmm.
got we got all the info that we need. So your testimony is no longer useful to me. So those that flip the earliest get the best deal because what they may have to offer could be that good. But then if you got two or three other people that got basically the same amount of information, it may not be as valuable as long as the one that you're getting it from can their information can be verified. There can be some kind of collaboration because a lot of these folks that turn witness do have a little bit of flaws with them because they are criminal defendants. So there is an incentive for them uh, sometimes to not be truthful. That's why you have to not only take what they're saying, but you need to be able to have the receipts to go with it to back it up. Yeah, I know my word hadn't been that good, but I got the receipts to go with it.
Laura, I know you're going to jump in, but real quick, just on that point, I think the problem is that Trump has paraded all these people out here as subject matter experts, and
Right.
so he is unwillingly because the thing in this is that okay, they flip, we'll just tear them down. Well, you've got so much. He talks so much that you've got so much tape of this is my person. I believe this person. This person is truthful. Why would this person lie? And you can't turn around in a criminal case and go, well, of course they're lying because they're not saying what I want them to say. Nobody
like
buys
they're
that.
Rhino. Yeah. They work for DOJ. They're really a secret Democrat. He'll come up with anything to throw at them. Oh, he was a coffee boy. I never knew him. All kinds of stuff. You're like, wait a minute. There's like 1,800 pictures of you with this person. How did you just? I barely. And he's already doing that in New York. But Lori, go ahead and jump in on that.
No, I just had a question about since Sidney Powell has already pled guilty,
Mm-hmm.
and even though she's now has these misdemeanors and also with her law license maybe possibly being in jeopardy, is there and I guess my question is there something for them to be able to serve in public service? Like, are they barred, or you know what I'm saying? Like, can they be like like work a poll site, or because they have these charges now or something?
It
I
really
think
depends.
that's
Sorry,
a
go ahead.
individual
Yep.
individual area thing. Because, like, so can you be a president and be a felon? Well, yeah, because they never thought that idiots would elect a felon as president, so they didn't think that. So there's a lot of loophole laws out there where people just thought no one would ever fall. No, when they were crafting the Declaration of Independence, nobody foresaw a carpetbagger like Donald J. Trump mesmerizing a country.
Right.
We all assumed that people would just look through his BS and be like, no. So I think, like Big Brother said, she's gonna have to talk to the bar, and she's gonna have some explaining to do. I'm not saying that she's gonna lose her license. I mean, she could, whatever, and that's gonna be a private conversation. That's not one for us to know with that bar.
I mean,
Is it
she could be
likely?
censored or
Yeah,
something. I mean, like as I
something.
said, because they do have those again, depending on what they want. At the end of the day, it just was for me. I was just thinking because now you have pled guilty. Yes, you may have a misdemeanor, but at the same time, you've pled guilty to a
Yeah.
crime.
Serious charges.
Right. So your criminal record is there. Whether she's
Right.
the fact that she's pled does not absolve her of having a criminal record. She will have a criminal record, and whether it's the bar or God heaven forbid, whether she wanted to run for public office or anything like that, a misdemeanor in most cases would not keep her from being able to do that. A felony could really come into play in
Yeah.
some areas, but it would be based on whatever their local laws allow you to do as far as eligibility is concerned. Um, but her getting the misdemeanor, it was actually the best case scenario for her to be able to have a chance to practice law. I would hope not that she ain't running for nobody's governor race or House of Representative or
Well,
anything like that.
you could, and I think it's a great question, Lori. It really is because that. Wow, that
There
was
we go.
interesting. That
Uh,
was a great question because that's what's been going on with a lot of Republican influencers. You look at
yes,
Sarah Huckabee being the governor in Arkansas and stuff. and using her tenure in that administration to go into politics and stuff. And so, I mean, her father obviously was, but
And now she's under investigation right now.
yeah, but you know, when you're a criminal, you do criminal shit. That's just all it is. It doesn't matter what form you're in.
So stupid too for a damn lectern that you said cost $19,000.
Hey, in her defense, that is a very sharp podium.
Yeah, but the one that she said it is, the people that manufacture it said, well, if that is what you say it is, it's a fake because ours don't look like that. And the ones that she said it is, it's a high end version of that lectern, but they said that ain't ours. So you got a fake, and even ours don't cost $19,000. What happens is that red flags don't go off until you spend over $20,000 on purchases. So they spent right up under that to keep from having any red flags.
That's
But
just like
because
that local law, like as I said, with spending, with in terms of you have to report any transaction or money transaction over $10,000. So
right,
you're trying to sit here and just say you get the $9,999.99
that's what she basically
say
did.
that so you don't have to report it.
Look,
Said
a
she didn't.
lot of people don't understand that when you talk about that, a lot of people don't understand that when you do a transaction for $9,500, it's flagged because it's suspiciously close to our limit.
Right.
Right. Which is why couldn't you again and again, I don't think some criminals are just not smart. And maybe in her case she's not. But you kind of break it up like you got if you did it up right up to that amount, did you not know it was going to be flagged? Like somebody's
Well,
going to be like, "Hey there."
so here's the thing about crime is that if I gave you 10 $1,000 payments, it's flagged because you're leaving a bigger trail,
Mhm.
right? And it looks suspiciously like you're trying to get around a rule.
Yes.
Right.
And so, well, is there a better way to do it? Yeah, not do it at all. That's actually the best way because there's no
Absolutely. Let's not do it.
yeah, let's not do it because there's really no great way to do it within this technological age and stuff. I met this general one time, and he was talking about ethics and stuff. And the one thing that he said that I kind of carried with me, he was like, he would tell his staff, he said, if this is where the line is for ethics and stuff, I would like us to be this far away from it, and this is our line. If this is the legal line, our line is over here. And if we get this close to our line, then we shouldn't be doing it. Because that way we'll never get to a point where anybody can misconstrue what's going on. We step back from those lines and we buffer that, and we should be good. The problem with criminals is that greed. Well, it's kind of like me when I was 20 something years old in a club at 1 o'clock in the morning off that
You was in the
cognac.
club at 1 in the morning?
Yeah. I was there off that cognac. That yak
That
is
yak.
like the greed for criminals and stuff. It had me making decisions that I didn't need to make.
Yep.
And that's how criminals are. They are high off of greed and stuff, and all they see is dollar signs because this is all about power and money. All this stuff is moving about.
And when you're the governor, when you're the governor of a state, I mean, who's higher than you in that state? So, I mean, really,
Who's gonna check me, boo boo?
5 in the morning at the Pancake House. Absolutely.
Actually, I think I calmed down once I got some pancakes in me.
Everybody be hitting.
Well, I think everybody did because you felt a little bit better
morning
with something in your stomach.
Yeah, they were, or either that or be at Denny's. One of them, IHOP or Denny's at 5 in the morning. I don't know anything about that because I was always in bed by 10 p.m.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's not true. And how you know about IHOP and Denny? Well, I don't know about down here. I know up north it was mostly IHOP. We didn't have a lot.
Up north,
Denny's was in the suburbs.
Yeah, because in the upstate they have more diners than anything. So places like that they're not as prevalent. But down here, they're
IHOP used to be 24 hours.
Waffle House, IHOP, or Denny's.
Mm.
Those were all your after club go tos. Plus, it was a good chance for you to see if what you dragged out that club was worth taking to the hotel or not.
It was
So
not.
again, the bad decisions on the
Bad
yak.
decision.
Then
Bad
that
decision.
you would see that in the light
Yes.
when you had to feed
And
them.
then you sitting there the whole time while that
Thank
thing's smacking in front of you, you going, okay, at some point I'm gonna act like I need to go to the bathroom.
Well, and so there's where Sidney Powell is. She's 5 o'clock in the morning at the pancake house with the lights on and the roaches crawling on the wall and stuff, and saying, "I've made a bad decision.
He said, "Oh
What can I do to get out of this?"
I've been playing some stupid games now. I'm about to get some stupid prizes."
And also get some stupid prizes and stuff. And really, that's where she is. But again, if I was in, I know Trump wouldn't take it, but if you're his lawyer, this is the perfect time to say, I don't think she's playing. We need to turn on these other people, and he's good at that, right? He's good at throwing his people under the bus. So I think the only problem would be is that she would require him to admit some guilt that would like the election wasn't stolen. And I think that may be the kind of the rubbing point for him is that one thing is that he does not want to admit that. Even it means he might face some jeopardy.
I think, Jermaine, that it would even have to go deeper than that for him on that. Even if they're not going to get jail time, they're going to probably say, yes, you're going to have to admit that in a letter. But I think one of the sticking points is also going to be you can no longer ever run for public office again.
If they made him write a letter, I would love for him, because he really can't read well, but I'd love for him to read that letter out in open court, because that'd be awesome.
I wouldn't, because the letter would have points in there like this.
Big
They're
league.
making me write this letter because I'm the leading candidate in the Republican primary by 50 points.
No. The letter, not for him to write the letter, it would be pre-written, and he would have to read it out in open court.
Did you see how hard he struggled when they put notes in a teleprompter for him to read? And he would look at it and go, I ain't saying that shit. He would just
that's basically
go off the rails within 2 seconds. He wouldn't read it.
When they tried to make him walk back January 6th, I mean, there's proof of it. When they tried to make him walk back January 6th, even Charlottesville, he just act like, nah, I can't do it. It ain't in my soul.
Well, that's the same playbook that they're following with, I guess in the and again, I know that's another topic you're probably trying to talk about, the House of Representatives shenanigans that we have.
Yeah.
On the multiple votes and with that.
Yeah, and we get to that. Lori, by the way, I love your title.
Wow.
No. Again, why did you change that? But again, that was not because
you said Lord.
See, you're trying to sit here to say because you trying to say that I wasn't in the club. Because you was sitting there dancing to Do the Brown. You know you was. You was sitting there, Do the Brown. You was doing it in the background. So stop trying to do this whole innocent thing.
But why was it when you did that little excerpt of Doody Brown, you was the only one that started moving to it?
Well, because I know I was in the club. I know where I was. 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I was out and about.
I had a long day because I'd been in church for 6 hours. So by 10 o'clock at night, after I said my prayers on the side of the bed, I got in bed and went to sleep.
So anyway, what's going on in the house, man?
Jermaine's being the producer. He's like, okay, I'm gonna keep this train on the rails. Oh, that's hilarious. So anyway, so to tighten that up, so we will see what's going to go on if Kenneth Chesebro does decide to continue to go through this. We will at least get to see the evidence that Fani Willis has laid out, because she will do an entire presentation of the RICO enterprise, which will include what everybody did, including the simple part that Chesebro did. So he would literally have to sit in court the entire time, not only listen to the parts that he had a part in, but also listen to the other parts that everybody else played in, because it's basically a case of what we call connecting the dots. She would have to basically say, because this happened, that happened, in addition to what he did, is why we're here today to establish the criminal enterprise. That's a whole lot. So there's going to be a whole lot of testimony that may not even be relevant to his exact part, but we as the viewing audience would be able to say, "Damn, she got everybody dead to right." So the other supposition was if both of them were going to take this to trial, and if some of those other co-defendants started seeing, because remember, they haven't asked for a speedy trial, so they've gotten no discovery. They don't really know what she has on them totally. But once one trial starts, she has to present enough of it. Even if she can add a few little things here and there, she has to present most of her case, and they would get the chance to go, "Oh, wait a minute, she got me with my hand in the cookie jar. Let me go ahead and call them up right now before this get out of hand." I estimate, Jermaine, that before it's all said and done, we've had two flippers. I would say before the end of the year, it's going to be more like 10. I think it's going to get real, real fast. I think the dominoes, once you hit that one domino, then the other ones start to fall. I think before the end of this year, you're going to see at least uh, 10 of the total 19 flip. And she kind of knew that. And then out of those remaining 9, um, I still think before the turn of next year, maybe another 3 to 4 of them are going to drop. And I think there's about a solid 5 of them that just believe that they're going to be able to talk themselves out of jail, including Giuliani, including Mark Meadows, including Donald Trump. Uh, I, uh, I think those are going to be ones. But folks like Jenna Ellis and homeboy that had to sit in jail overnight, yeah, they're going to flip. They're gonna flip. I have no doubt in my mind. But those 3 for sure. But I think there'll probably be 2 other stragglers that are going to go down with the ship. But I think most of them already see the writing on the wall and are trying to figure out, okay, when is it a good time for me to go ahead and walk on over to that courthouse and talk to the DA? I think that's what's going on with that. Going into what we were talking about with the House Speaker. We thought at the beginning of the year when it took Kevin McCarthy 15 rounds and a lot of side deals to become the Speaker of the House. I think we all said the same thing at the time. It ain't gonna last because you sat there and basically traded your title in for the power that it holds. You gave up everything. You told them one person can boot you from the job or at least bring a motion to the floor to boot you. Now, here's the thing. If all you did was piss off that one person, wouldn't really be a big deal because everybody else would say, "Oh, no, 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 no. We love Kevin. Kevin, we support you." But you knew good and well, hell, your margin was already very, very small. Let me see what she said. This will be old court TV meets Law and Order. I will be watching. Oh, absolutely. Without the dum dum. But and without Nancy Grace. But uh he really, again, this was another person miscalculating how fractured his party really was. Trying to be everything to everybody in the Republican Party is a recipe for disaster because you have a wing of that party that did not come to Washington. It was never their intent to govern. Most people think that people run for Congress, and when they get there, their idea is to enact policies, Miss Nancy Grace, enact policies that are to better their constituents, are to advance policies that work for the better good. They think that's what they are really voting people into office for. There was a certain contingent of people over time that obviously were in office to do none of that. It was to just raise a bunch of hell. John Boehner at one point called, and if you don't remember John Boehner, he used to be Speaker of the House, called Jim Jordan a terrorist because he just sits there and tries to blow stuff up. He called him a legislative terrorist. Anything they put on the floor, Jim Jordan vote no. The Freedom Caucus, formerly the Tea Party, were there to just be the voice of dissent and say no to everything and really make the wheels of Congress grind almost to a screeching halt. So after they've gotten rid of Kevin McCarthy because Matt Gaetz, and according to Kevin McCarthy, we wouldn't be in this situation had the Democrats not voted him out. Kevin.
So he's technically right. They all voted him out. They all of them agreed. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna jump in because I got to disconnect for a little bit because I got to hop in a truck and go pick up a young lady from a hair appointment. That hashtag daddy duties. But Kevin, he thought to themselves, it took 15 votes to get me in. There's no one else that they can consolidate around. And who would think that Gates would actually, I guess the thing is, a reasonable person would assume that why would you blow this thing up when there's not a replacement?
Right.
It's not like there's somebody else in the party that they were rallied behind and stuff. And that would be, why would you push the nuclear button on yourself, basically, on your own party?
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what they did. And we're seeing the fallout of that chaos and stuff. You can talk about your perspective, brother, but they have not been a serious party for years because they have not had policy for years.
Right.
It's all about cultural stuff, and we don't like this. And I've always told people, if you got to force your religion and your views on people, maybe they're not good views, and it's not a solid religion. If you have to make people do things like I saw, like in Texas and stuff, where they want to reintroduce the 10 Commandments and they want to force people to read them and stuff. I think if you got to force people to read them, maybe it's the way that you're living, your hypocrisy that's driving people away.
Right. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right with that. None of this is, but see, that's kind of my point, Jermaine. If Kevin McCarthy, if you gave him some kind of truth serum, there's no way in the world he could act like he didn't know that his party was as effed up as it was. It didn't take them 15 votes for you to know that you got a bunch of lunatics in your party. What they've tried to do for all these years is appease them in a way where they didn't think that their voices would be big enough to stop anything. They're learning what a filibuster really is, where the minority can stop everything in the majority.
If you give a mouse a cookie, he will ask for a glass of milk. I don't know if anybody's got small kids and they've read those books before.
Oh,
but, if you give a mouse a cookie, basically this mouse continues to ask for more stuff.
Right.
There's a comment. I had to chuckle. It says, excuse me for interrupting. It seems like everyone is all right on the Greyhound is all right on the Greyhound bus to hell in gasoline draws, drinking hot red wine.
Yeah, pretty much.
And again, the cookie and the milk thing.
Yeah, I mean, and once he gets a glass of milk, then he's going to need a sandwich. Once he has a sandwich, he's going to need to lay down. Once he lays down, he's going to need a pillow. So it just goes. And so this whole thing about them not really taking control of the situation years ago, because Jim Jordan's been in Congress for 16 years, never passed one bill. Not one.
Not gotten any bill.
How is he still voted in? I just like for 16 years.
Because I think we talked about it before. I really thought the Obama campaign was unique because it was based on hope and change.
Yep.
It is very easy to rally people around fear and anger.
Yep.
Those are easier emotions to harness, and the Republican Party has harnessed it to the max with their voters. They're afraid of caravans of people that don't exist, about borders that are being crossed and stuff, about jobs that they would never do that they might lose.
But yet they're going to be taken from them. Not you're going to give it up. It's going to be snatched
from you.
You're going to be replaced. Your position in this world is going to be somebody's going to remove you from it and put somebody else into it.
Yeah, replace the replacement theory.
And the only thing stopping that from happening is you voting me in.
Replacement theory. Yeah. So replacement theory is also what leads into anti-abortion stuff.
Yes.
Right now, there are not enough white babies being born to keep up to make keep white people in the majority and stuff. Abortion laws are not just, well, we care about fetuses. No, you don't, because you don't care about children. So how could you care about fetuses? You don't care if they get shot up. Well, shit happens. But if somebody decides for life choices that they don't want to have a child and stuff, you think that that's egregious, but them getting blown away by a semi-automatic weapon is fine with you. You can't tell me that that has anything to do with you caring about children. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Or-
so it's just one of those kind of things. When we go back to it, the Democrats are weak. Let me go ahead and say that too. Well, they had a chance in the sun, and they could have, and they did get some policy passed. But in terms of they have this whole thing, and Joe Biden is really bad about this. He's living in Victorian times where he
Yes.
thinks, well, I'm not going to be mean to them because when we're not in power, they could be mean to us. Bruh, look at it. That's what they're doing. The reason they all voted against McCarthy is because McCarthy has done nothing for Democrats. Of course, we don't agree with your leadership, is what they said.
Right. And Jermaine, to piggyback on that, and the way the Democrats look at it is like they said, it is not for us to sit there when you're in the majority and vote for your speaker.
Yeah.
That's why they've been united 212 with Hakeem Jeffries every step of the way. So when you're voting to boot, now what they could have done instead of voting to boot McCarthy out, they could have just simply voted present, and that would have lowered the threshold. So did their votes contribute to McCarthy being ousted? Yes, but it was a Republican that brought the vote. Any one of those 212 Democrats at any time could have made that motion, and they did not. He acts like they sat there and brought the motion up themselves. They didn't bring up the motion. The problem is that
somebody asked and they gave their opinion.
Yep. You tried to sit there and have it both ways, and it caught up with you. And then you did the exact same thing. The Democrats tried to work with you when it came to the debt ceiling because people in your party signaled to you that they didn't care if the credit rating, the good faith and credit of the United States was put in jeopardy. They weren't going to vote for any debt limit increase. They flat out told you that when it was time to sit there and do the appropriation spending and everything else, no, we want to blow it all up. We're going to tear it all up. And you realize you were going to need Democrats. When he started making deals with Democrats, and Matt Gaetz told him, if you make a deal with Democrats, I'm gonna put it on the floor for you to be removed. That's basically saying we don't want any bipartisanship. If you work with them, that is going to be a bridge too far, and we're gonna get rid of you. And then when the Democrats come to your aid and actually give you enough votes and actually give more votes on their side than your Republicans are willing to give, what is the first thing he does on the Sunday talk show? He blames the Democrats for having such a hard time in the first place.
Yep.
But aren't we going to be in the same predicament soon because they have a temporary
Well, we're worse. And that's maybe the what my bro's going to bring up today. So Jim Jordan, second vote, less people voted for him than the first vote. Not going in the direction he needs. They have a temporary interim speaker, a young man from North Carolina who gavels the hell out of gavels.
They're gonna have to find a couple of extras for him.
What they're now trying to support is actually giving him more powers because he doesn't have the power as an interim to make these. It's just really just to call these votes and stuff.
Right. He can't move any legislation. Right. Right.
They want to try to give him temporary power to do that because they cannot agree on who their next leader is going to be. Because again, when Gates blew this thing up, and he's an idiot, he looks like Beavis and or Butthead. I don't know which one, but when he blew this up, he blew it up at the most inappropriate time, right?
Right.
When they're in a pinch for. So if they don't come up with a speaker, which they are predictably might not be able to do in the next 30. When is that? When is it in like the 15th of November?
I thought it was like November 2nd, something.
It's less than a month now.
Yeah,
it's less than a month.
Continuing resolution, and they've wasted over 18 days of that.
Yes,
haggling over speaker. Even today, Kevin McCarthy trying to talk in a closed behind meeting. Matt Gaetz gets up to say something against him, and McCarthy yells out to him, "Sit your ass down." So they just going back and forth now. You know, the fact that they're in that position is crazy enough, but
Even
No,
if they were able to elect somebody tonight, let's say they had a vote tonight and they elect somebody tonight, that still doesn't put them in a place where they're able to, as a party, move legislation. They're
they've got
just not
they've
there.
got
They're just so
11.
disconjointed.
They have 11, a total of 12. I think they got one, but they would have at least 11 appropriation bills to have to pass. And just because you pass it in your chamber, it then has to go to the Senate and they have to pass it too. And then if there's anything in between, like there's language that they don't like, there's language that you don't like, then you have your conference committee. The conference committee has to get together, come to some kind of consensus, then send it back to the House. House has to approve it again.
And
Then they
again,
got to send it to the Senate. The Senate has to approve it again. If they then approve it, then it goes to the desk to be signed by the president. There is a process, and to Jermaine's point, the clock is ticking because most of these things, because they take every Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, um, and they like to
And the
always,
holidays are coming.
and holidays are
yep.
coming, and my God, everything that they can think of. So every time they get behind these closed doors and get heated, then they need a whole nother week to cool off, and then they come back and start the same shenanigans again.
Hey, family, I'm a transition to my phone because I
Okay,
don't want to miss out because we're going to talk. I do have some Palestine, some stuff for later on the show that I definitely want to chime into. So
okay,
I'm gonna be mobile. Give me 5.
all right,
Okay.
you fine.
Give me mobile.
All right, y'all. So this will be our franchise commercial break. Um, we're gonna give them 5 and everything. So Lori, it's just madness because what they're trying to do right now is give uh, pro tem speaker Pat McHenry powers that he can do more things with. The only thing he can do right now is bring up a vote for the speaker. That's all he can do. He can gavel that in. He can call him to the floor when it's time to vote and stuff like that, but he can't do anything. So they want some people, not all, um, there's a lot of folks in the Republican Party that don't want to do that. They say we need a speaker. That is the answer. We don't want our temporary speaker to do all of these things. That's just kicking the can. Now they're worried about kicking the can down the road. Yet this is the Congress that is known for continuing resolutions and omnibus spending. But now they want to kick the cans down the road. Now they have a problem with kicking cans down the road. They're all over the place. Um, but what they're trying to do is do this all the way through January, when the next Congress would start. And they're hoping, or Jim Jordan is hoping, that by then he will have garnered enough support to be able to be speaker. Now, listen, Jim
I,
Jordan cannot be that stupid to believe that 2.5 more months is going to be any different than what it is right now. But he obviously thinks it will be.
well, I think the issue with Jim Jordan, and I think that goes back to your comment about our Orange Julius, that
Mhm.
he's not going to sit here and admit that the rightful president won the election. And he refuses to do that, which is very comical as he's trying to garner support. Because again, this is what's on here, and you're looking like a jackass, literally. And it was just as I had a chance to kind of go in between and watching the failed votes, all I did was have to laugh because I was like sitting here like this is basically a the Republican Party is like a clown car that they keep shoving in all these people, and you're shoving in the crazies and they're not getting out the car.
Well, it's true. And the thing is that when they were in the minority and really couldn't stop legislation, um, when they were in the minority and they could not stop legislation, then it wasn't as obvious because things kept getting done. When Nancy Pelosi had the same margin of error, she was still able to get things done. So the clown car that was the Republican Party couldn't really stop things, but so much. They could slow it down a little bit by motions and things like that, but ultimately, a lot of these things were going to get done and they were going to pass simply because, um, simply because they had enough Democratic votes to be able to continue to get legislation done. The problem now is they're in the majority and they need every single vote, which is why you don't see George Santos being booted out, which is why they put up with folks like him because they need his vote. Um, um, it's just crazy because they haven't realized that they've had this faction in their party for so long that has no interest in governing. Here's the other thing too, Lori, to your point about Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan has a lot of baggage. First, they tried to do Steve Scalise, where Steve Scalise had the baggage of his comment about being David Duke without the baggage. Um, you shouldn't be David Duke without anything. You should just be without being David Duke.
And just why would you even mention David
Yeah,
Duke?
to even put 6 degrees of separation between you and David Duke makes absolutely no sense at all. And we got you back, franchise. It sound like you in some traffic, but we got so the whole David Duke without the baggage was was a qualifier for him for a lot of people. And for other reasons, other people believe that he was Kevin McCarthy 2.0. Let me just mute franchise just for a
Yeah.
little bit.
That's
Really,
what I was gonna do.
yeah, we got you, big bro. Whenever you want to come in, we'll
We'll
unmute
unmute you.
you. But when so that was too close for a lot of people. They just figured, hey, I'm just getting Kevin McCarthy light. It's like voting for Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, why would I vote for the knockoff when we got the true indeed? And then the other thing too, Lori, to your point with Jim Jordan is, yeah, he had allegations at the Ohio State University about being part of a cover up of boys being touched by the team doctor. But the biggest thing for a lot of these Republicans that they have to consider, you gotta remember, everything that they do is a political calculation. And one of the biggest calculations is that there are about 20 of them that won in districts that Joe Biden eventually won in. And they have to be very, very careful that they cannot be seen as election denying extremists that are there to blow up the democracy. So they cannot have an extreme stance and expect to get reelected.
Well, that's and thank you for bringing that up, but that's the point because I'm like sitting here like, do you not know how much, again, going back to the clown car,
Yes, Marlon.
that y'all look crazy?
Yes,
And
yeah.
again, yes, there are just going to be some individuals that are just going to say, I'm just going to keep voting for you. Again, Jim Jordan, 16 years. But however, some of them, as they're watching this going on, and with everything that's going on in the world right now, it's just kind of like y'all looking like a bunch of jackasses.
They really are. And the thing is, and Marlon asked if the internet connection, he said the internet connection, he's freezing on my end. Is it just me? I think so. We haven't had any, I'm gonna knock on wood for real. We hadn't had any internet issues tonight, but it definitely could be. Um, but what's going on is you're right. They have paralyzed Congress because aid to Israel, aid to Ukraine, any other thing, any other legislation,
Taiwan, I mean,
nothing,
nobody can move.
nothing can be done because they put themselves in a position to paralyze the entire government this way. Um, but what's going on though, Lori, is that Jim Jordan, when he came into Congress with the rest of the Tea Party and now the Freedom Caucus, their whole thing was just blowing stuff up, being dismissive, not agreeing to anything. So he never built a coalition with these folks. So a lot of them are only voting for him out of fealty to Donald Trump. But then you've got the other ones that'll be like, wait a minute, this dude is the one that came in here and act like every conspiracy theory was something to have an investigation over. He's never been a serious person or being perceived as being a serious person. At least with Kevin McCarthy, a lot of them were in allegiance to him because he was their best fundraiser. He was their Nancy Pelosi. He was the guy that when your campaign needed money, he was the money man, for better or worse, for as stupid as he sounds when he gives interviews and stuff like that and does all his circular talking, he was their best fundraiser, and yet they owed a debt of gratitude to him, and that's how they kept voting for him. Jim Jordan has none of that. Steve Scalise has none of that. Elise Stefanik has none of that. But other names that have come up and said, "Hey, what about Tom Cole? What about some of these other more moderate Republicans that people could get behind and stuff like that. Nobody's going to go after firebrands like a Jim Jordan, not on the second ballot, the third ballot, or the 23rd ballot. And like Jermaine said before he had went out, he keeps getting fewer and fewer votes. And if he even waits till January, what he's going to find is he's going to even have fewer and fewer votes. But some people are so afraid to cross Donald Trump. And then some people got pushed off because of the scare tactics that he tried. Having Sean Hannity, producer, reach out to a bunch of them, sitting there talking about, why are you doing this to the country? Don Bacon's wife receiving text messages from people talking about what's wrong with your husband. If he don't vote for Jim Jordan, there's going to be problems and stuff like that. Man, you sending text messages to the man's wife? So the whole fact that they're sitting there having Republican on Republican crime right now is hilarious. But even though it's hurting the country, in some ways, to me, y'all, it's good for the country. And I'm gonna tell you why. For the last time, if y'all can't see that these people are not serious about governing, and when it's time to vote again, you have a choice who you vote for. There's no political ad, there's no PAC money, there's nothing else that can show you what they are showing you right now is they are not serious about legislating. Because when you gave them the opportunity to do it, they can't even choose their damn leader. That's like a football team trying to figure out, should the quarterback be the captain? You can't even do the easy stuff. How are we going to sit there and ask you to be responsible for 350 million people in the United States?
And just as a small plug, and you can find out all of that football information on Head to Head Sports with Brian Parkin and Randall Hargrove on Wednesdays, weekly.
At 7 p.m. Thank you, Lord. Thanks for the plug.
I'm just trying to do a plug.
So that's what we got going on with there. Anything to chip in on that, JP?
Yeah. I mean, I want to keep the show moving, so I don't want to rehash it too much. All your points are excellent and stuff. They're not a serious party. They don't have any leadership and stuff. But the one thing I will add is that I just don't think voters care. I think that Republicans, they like the mist. It's like telling them that Jerry Springer's not real. They don't care. They've come for the show. And so it doesn't matter that they're not there to govern, because I think there's a sentiment around the country where there are a lot of people who want to make America great again. And what they mean by that is they want to turn the clock back, and Republicans are not allowing the country to move forward. And that's the point. You're not going to make us move forward and stuff. And so these clowns are there for a reason. You can't listen to any of these guys and seriously say that there was some kind of, these are not well-spoken men.
Or women, because you got Lauren Boebert
or women. They have not said anything intelligent that has swayed anybody. So it's not like they're statesmen. These are not what in the olden days we would call elder statesmen and stuff like that. And so they know who they're voting for. And so this clown show is what they wanted. It had to be.
Right.
Why else vote for it? Now, I'm not saying the entire country, because there are some serious Republicans who want to do good. And quite honestly, we talked about this last week. The fact that the red wave didn't happen is the reason they're here. And they have to make a decision about their policies and stuff and what they're supporting, because that's why the wave didn't hit. They decided to ignore the small pocket of their party because they said, we'll have so many votes, it won't matter what these parties do.
That's exactly right. And now, because it does matter, they have no margin for error. And now the crazy has to be part of the conversation. They have to let the crazy into the big boy rooms, in the back rooms and things like that. And now that's working against them.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, Jermaine, I noticed on your YouTube, I don't want to keep saying that, your Facebook post today, you posted a flag.
I did.
And I haven't seen it since, so I don't know if you've gotten any comments on it, good or bad.
I have.
Really? A lot?
Not a lot. And I'll tell you this. Most people don't come for me anymore.
Okay.
I mean, really, I mean, not publicly. I get more conversations in my DMs than I will get on a public post for a couple of reasons. 9 times out of 10, if I post something, so what I posted on my page was I support Palestine. There's a lot of people out there, I support Israel and stuff. And so, and I tried to make it abundantly clear in all my posts and dealing about the situation stuff. This is a very complicated issue.
Right.
And so that's why Jared could not solve peace in the Middle East because it's just not one of those things where here you have this, and we're done, right? There's a lot of complications that go into it. But what's not complicated is that Israel is a fully realized government, and they are committing war crimes. And so one of the comments that I got on there was, well, because a lot of people, they what they look at is that most recently Hamas launched all these rockets, they killed these people and stuff, and Israel's just protecting itself. What they're not looking at is the fact that Israel has been a bad faith negotiator. In fact, they have not negotiated with Palestine in quite some time. And the things that they did promise, like giving back land, some lands and stuff, they reneged on, and they continued to take land instead of giving it back like they said. And even during this crisis and stuff, I had one guy put on there and say, the civilians that died, that's collateral damage, which I always think is wild to say about killing children and women, is that they're collateral damage. And what I told him was, I said, cutting the electricity off, the water off, and the power off to civilians is not collateral damage. Those are war crimes. Israel is out in public committing war crimes and bombing hospitals because he's like, well, you've been a war fighter for over 20-something years. I have. And at no point, I'll tell you right now, if you go talk to somebody who's fought in Afghanistan, one of the rules of engagement that they had is especially later on in war, if you cannot see, even if you're getting shot at, if you can't see a weapon, you cannot return fire. Now, who knows where these magic bullets are coming from, but if you can't see who's shooting at you and you can't identify a target, you can't just shoot back. That's not what Israel's doing.
No.
A lot of people are like, well, Hamas is this and Hamas is that. Hamas is not the ruling government for Palestine.
That's correct.
That's and I get why people are like, well, what should they do? I don't know. Maybe stop treating Palestine like shit. That might have a little something to do. Like I'm not for people killing innocent people and kidnapping and beheading and all that kind of stuff. What options have you? Because you won't talk to them anymore. What options have you left them?
They're basically trapped in Gaza because they're bordered by water, Egypt and Israel.
Yeah.
So and they're in the 27, whatever the mileage it is. I forgot what the size. They compared Gaza to, in comparison, it's a very short. And then all these millions of people are packed in. Yes.
New Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just kind of like, but they're all packed in there, that one thing. And they have 2 border crossings and everything else. But then these individuals then go into work in Israel and going back and forth. But then you're taking away their food, their water, their everything else. And then you're not negotiating good faith. I saw your comment and I liked what you said. I hearted it.
Do you guys also understand too that the population of the Palestinians, more than half of them are 18 years or younger?
Younger, yes, because that is
they did not vote for that government back in 2006. Most of them, but I've heard some Israelis actually say, well, they voted for that government, so they basically are getting what they voted for. And I would hope nobody looks at elections that way, because we voted for Donald Trump, and if he did something stupid, I would hope that you wouldn't think that we all should pay because Donald Trump was our president.
I'm Muslim, and so this is a Jew Muslim. This is a religious war too. There's like I said, there's a lot of subtext to this. It is not an easy subject to break down. When you sit there and you go back, I had one guy who was like, don't Jews deserve somewhere to exist in this world. And I said, you know what? That is a great point, because people who have a historic tie to lands and stuff and claim to it, especially when it was stolen from them, I think that's a good point. That's not what's going on with Israel. But we could talk about Indians, Native Americans,
There
and
you
black
go.
people who had their land stolen. I wish that you had the same passion for us that you do for people that you never met, but disdain for people that you see all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You talk out both sides because it goes back to the abortion thing. We care about life, just not black and brown lives.
Right.
It's again with this. Well, Israel is our partner. Israel wasn't really a state until when, the 70s, when they went in there and
Yeah.
took that land.
Yes, when they had the 5-year war or something like that.
Yeah. And so, you're not talking about, and people say, well, they have claims to that. Again, if Native Americans came in and said, we got claims to this, you would be like, you know what? You have a right to
Sorry.
exist in this world, and we should. They'd be like, nah, we got this, even though we got it through illegitimate and bad deals and stuff.
We ain't giving
It's
it back.
ours. It's been too long and stuff like that. So the fact that you go back to the time of Christ with Israel, with Jews and stuff, say, well, they used to live here. Somebody used to live in my house, but I bought it legally. They cannot come back and make a claim to it. Like, hey, well, my grandfather owned this house. He don't own it no more.
So in other words, Israel's kind of taking over Gaza and most of the lands through adverse possession.
Yes, they are. Hey, look at that real estate. Look at that real estate.
And it has to be on ocean, open, continuous.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. I didn't mean to do this way. Sorry.
No,
My bad.
no, do it. But no, seriously.
Go ahead.
It's I'll never sell anything near water. But
Sorry.
your rights on water. I do a lot of real estate, but your rights on water, I'm gonna have to refer you to somebody else.
Oh, are you gonna sit there and talk about?
She wasn't doing the water. She was doing the ocean acronym.
Ocean acronym for adverse possession. Open, continuous, something adverse and notorious.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting that way. Not I wasn't talking about riparian. I wasn't talking about littoral rights. None of that. I was talking about adverse possession.
No, you're good, sis. So I had two posts. I put out there, I support Palestine, and then the other thing was, if Israelis stop fighting, we can have peace. If Palestinians stop fighting, there won't be any more Palestinians. Mm-hmm. And so the post that you hearted was somebody just question mark. I was like, I don't understand. It's really, and I'll just be real transparent with this. It is really easy for white Americans to not understand power dynamics. They refuse to believe it here in our country. Why would I think they would believe it happens anywhere else? It is not the same. Most Palestinians, right now, they're throwing rocks. The fact that they got rockets and stuff, you can say whatever else, but it's disproportionate response to what's going on. Again, to the guy who commented about, well, they're just protecting.
No, you're not. Protecting yourself is when somebody's swinging at you, not when they stop swinging.
Oh, I was ranting too. They are committing open war crimes. Joe Biden goes over there, and even Joe Biden has to say, the hospital attack.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all did that.
Yeah. Because I still keep saying that most of the individuals, again, that you've seen in Gaza are throwing, and as I said, young people, they are throwing stones. They are throwing this one. They don't have guns. They don't have rockets. Where is it coming from?
Israel. And here's the thing. I think Jermaine's flag that says I stand with Palestine, there was nothing on that flag that said I support Hamas.
No.
It
absolutely doesn't.
What people are doing is they're saying, if you support Palestine, you are basically endorsing the fact that 1,200 Israelis have been killed without acknowledging the fact that now over 3,000 Palestinians have been killed as a result of what Hamas did. How many out of that 3,000 were Hamas, and how many of it were women and children? And if you think you can, in your mind, justify why a child has to die, and you tell me you're about goddamn pro-life, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
You know, there have been more children killed in this skirmish than have been killed in Ukraine. And so over the last year, you know,
Even through the entire
and,
war, that
But if
it's
you're
there.
okay, I'm gonna be clear, but if you're okay with them indiscriminately killing women and children, do not give me your Christian moral stance bullshit about being pro-life. You might be pro-babies being born, but you are not pro-life. And am I saying, Brian, when 9/11 happened, we went to Afghanistan, we did this, and we shouldn't have done that.
Well,
That
as
was wrong.
we found out, we were wrong, and that was actually even Joe Biden said, "You need to learn from our mistakes."
Right.
You can be upset, and surprisingly, a well-crafted speech from Joe Biden about that.
Very
But
measured.
the thing about that is too, even if you look at the U.S. response, and again, the rules of engagement over there were very, very small. It
Yeah.
wasn't like you could just go blow up a town just
Mm-hmm.
because. It wasn't like, even if we thought that there were bad guys hiding in the hospital, if it was a legitimate hospital, we did not blow it up.
Why would you blow up a hospital?
Why would you blow up a hospital? I don't know. Ask the Israelis, because they thought it was a good idea. They thought targeting communities, buildings, and stuff like that. They dropped pamphlets and told people, you need to leave your homes. Why? Because we're going to blow up your homes. Not because
Yeah.
we have credible intelligence that there's somebody there or you're hiding something or you're part of this. We're just going to take away everything. And honestly, for me and my point, and I'm very, very biased on this situation, because I've watched for years as Israelis have killed media, as they've killed unarmed women and children and stuff, as they've used as they shot tanks, missiles, and rockets against people that only were armed with sticks and rocks and called themselves justified in those killings and stuff. I've watched for years this bullshit, and every year, as part of foreign aid, we give Israel more money and more money. They're talking about giving them money now. I'm like, giving them money for what?
Yeah.
We have given them everything. They don't need anything from us.
They don't need any money and aid. Hell, they got everything they need. We gave them the damn Iron Dome.
We gave them everything they need.
Everything but protect themselves. Here's the other thing I thought was interesting, Jermaine. Now that you say that, when Russia invaded Ukraine and Vladimir Putin started targeting power plants and residential areas and things like that, we called him a barbarian. We said that he was guilty of war crimes because he was going after civilians.
Yep.
Hello, pot. Hello, kettle.
The one person that responded to me said I hadn't seen anything, and I said, well, if you hadn't seen it, it's because you got your eyes closed willingly, because it's 2023, and outside of Israel trying to blow up their internet so they can't communicate with the outside world, when Palestinians have been able to talk and show video and stuff, you see what's going on. You just have to. You might not believe it, but it is being broadcast. There are children blown apart, bleeding. There's a lot of horrific images. Follow Sean King on Instagram or Twitter and stuff. Sean's being shadow banned for sharing a lot of this stuff about because people just don't want to hear. And when I say people, I mean white people. White people don't want to hear that there's something wrong with Israel because they. And the crazy thing is that they're Jews, you're Christians. They don't even believe in your Jesus. But because you have a historical claim to that area through your religion, you think that somehow not supporting Israel is going to keep you out of heaven. And I'm telling you, it's going to send you straight to hell.
Right. I don't think when the rapture comes, you're gonna get checked off whether you supported Benjamin Netanyahu or not.
And he's a criminal. He shouldn't even be in office.
Right.
In
Another
fact,
power grab.
quite honestly, I think we talked about this last week. I was quite honestly, after everything that had happened with him and stuff, I thought he had been removed.
Yeah.
When he showed back up, I was like, what's this criminal still doing
Yeah,
here?
I thought when Joe Biden showed up over there, he was gonna put some handcuffs on him on behalf of the international community.
Yeah, this dude is a criminal.
I don't know
And
what
not
they're doing
because
at the
I say he's a
Hague
criminal,
or
but
somebody.
because
Somebody needs to do something.
Israelis say he's a criminal.
They really need to put him for war crimes, but over at the Hague. But just saying.
And he is a known racist as well. I will put that out.
No.
Anybody want to fight me on that, then come for me. I got you. I will show you. He is a racist. He has no interest in a two-state solution.
No.
Even though Joe Biden mentioned that in his speech, it was very measured. He also sat there and warned Israel that, hey, y'all need to make sure that this is very concentrated. This is very measured, which they are already not doing.
No.
People say that we can't just indiscriminately attach Palestinians to Hamas and look at one as the other as one thing. When I see Hamas, I see Palestine. When I see Palestine, I see Hamas. That way it makes it easier for me to kill these people like animals. I'm trying to think what other race got eradicated because you compared them to animals and therefore it was easier to kind of kill them, lynch them, and get rid of them. Trying to think about that. See, that's why they don't want you to know about history, because it doesn't always repeat, but it damn sure rhymes. Know your history.
I like that.
It damn sure does. So I don't know how I pivot to Will and Jada, so I'm gonna hold that to the next one because I can't. I don't even know how I get into that, but let's give it a shot since we gotta get 4 minutes. What I don't like. What don't you like, Lori?
Just going on, I just don't like when people just sit there and make a judgment, but really make all these suppositions and start talking about things, but they really don't know what they're talking about, and they feel that they're trying to be right fighters, and it's stupid. But you end up looking like a jackass. That's what I don't like.
Anybody you want to name? No, I'm just kidding.
I could. I
know
have
you
lots to name, but it's just a matter of, in general, you end up looking with egg on your face. No matter how hard you try, you're going to still look stupid. So that's what I don't like.
Jermaine, what don't you like?
I don't like people who think because I served in the military that I'm some goddamn huckaboo and stuff. I'm a black man, and I know it not because. And so that's the thing about race and stuff. It's not because I say, it's because of the system and the things that I experience. I would like to think of myself as Jermaine. I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to because I'm constantly reminded of who I really am and what people really think of me. But a lot of times I'll have people who either I served with or see that I've served and stuff, and they're like, it's the comment today where you were a war fighter. I mean, I ain't never killed nobody innocent. Don't do that. That's not my thing. And I'm not a Republican. I think that those guys are idiots and you support them. I really do think that you're an idiot, and it's fine if y'all don't like me because I have these opinions of these low opinions of you and stuff. But I don't like the fact that you think somehow because I once had a uniform that I've been brainwashed to believe. I read. And I'm well versed on the and that's why I understand the power dynamics that go on in other places and stuff. Like my brother says, that they don't always repeat, but they do rhyme. And I'm trying to tell you, sometimes I rhyme slow, sometimes I rhyme quick.
Oh my gosh, very nice. I love it. Unrated classic by Greg Nice and C.L. Smith. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to play that on one of the outros one of these days. Give y'all a little breakdown of that. So some Greg Nice. Oh man, I was about to kick a bar or two of it. Anyway, or some hip hop junkies.
Yeah.
Nice and smooth, it's funky. Oh, so good. Look at Lori. She's starting to move. You ain't in the club, Lori. That ain't 1982 anymore. You ain't in the club.
Wow, 82.
I wasn't in the club in 1982.
you were. You were like
No, I was not. No, I was not.
27 years old.
What do you not like, Brian?
I don't like a lot of things.
Can we narrow it down?
I don't like people. Is that more narrow? I don't like people that's people are. I don't like people that are so isolated, um, so self-centered that there's really no way for them to experience anything outside of themselves, for them not to really realize it's okay to be in tune with yourself, but you need to be in tune with what's going on around you. You need to be in tune with what's going on in your community, what's going on in your neighborhood, what's going on with your family, what's going on with local politics. People talk about all the time. Well, Brian, talk about politics all the time. Damn it, tell me where politics doesn't come back and affect your life. You have a salary, right? Yeah. Politics raises the minimum wage. Politics sits there and makes sure that you ride on the roads and the bridges that you ride on. It controls the public transportation. It controls your airfare. It controls your taxes. What does politics not have to do with your everyday life? And why do you treat it like it's something that you should not be a part of when it affects damn near everything you do from the time you scratch your ass to the time you get up? Everything that you do has something that's tied to politics. Why do you sit there and act like it's one of those things that are taboo and can't be talked about when it affects you more than anything else in your life would do? You can't not sit there. Anything that you do, the lights that you got on are tied to some regulations. The water that you drink is tied to some type of regulation. The police, the fire department, everything you do is tied to something involving politics. You have to take it seriously. You have to be a voice in it. When you want things to be better and you want things to change, you have to be aware of why it's not the way that it should be and what it is that you can do to make it that way. And every time you sit there and you moan and you bitch and you complain and you cry and all of that stuff, but you won't sit there and take time to go vote and do other things in your community, pass me with that because I don't like it. I drop my mic, but then, it would make too much noise. I don't like that at all.
Get it. Again.
I'm sorry. I got a little elevated too about these babies getting killed. Y'all. I don't like that either. I don't like people talking out both sides of their mouth. I still don't understand how y'all gonna talk about you pro-life, but you okay with Israel killing kids in Gaza that are 18 years old.
And I think when we say that, it is not with the exclusion of that Israeli children dying is somehow acceptable. We're
Not at
saying
all.
that none of it is acceptable,
Right.
but clearly there's a disproportionate response going on here. I think it's maybe the thing that people don't understand. Yeah, and people say, well, America dropped all these bombs in Afghanistan, and obviously the Afghans didn't have an air force, and they couldn't retaliate, and that was disproportionate and stuff. There's some reason for what was done and why it was done, and it was in some parts disproportionate on purpose. But at no point did they carpet bomb villages.
Right.
Did they attack civilian targets and stuff? You're not going to see that. And America. I don't know if you remember Abu Dhabi. Not Abu Dhabi. What was the name of that prison? Abu Ghraib prison, where they found that their soldiers were abusing the prisoners that they had in there.
Mhm.
They court-martialed and put those people in jail. Some of the people still in jail.
Yeah.
And so when there were war crimes and things that people did, even there was some stuff, quite honestly, that was in my mind questionable, that they prosecuted soldiers for, because they're like, yeah, you shouldn't have killed that guy. He was disarmed, and you shot him again while he was down. There's a lot of cases and stuff where America policed itself. And again, on my side, I'm thinking, hey, that's kind of war. This dude signed up and he's been shooting people and stuff. And the fact that he's disarmed now, again, our rules of engagement, he didn't have a gun. He'd already been shot. There was no reason to kill him while he lay there unarmed and stuff. And I'm thinking, yeah, he probably did that because he didn't want him shooting in the back as he passed by him. But
Right.
But guys got in trouble for stuff like that. And when I'm saying that Israel is turning off water and gas and power and the reason they're trying to knock down the internet is because they don't want you to see what they're doing.
Right. Absolutely. It's kind of funny too, Jermaine. These are the same people that when we would say Black Lives Matter, they would say all lives matter.
All lives matter. Yeah, absolutely. Well, all lives matter this shit too.
So now if you say, well, Israeli lives matter, and you say, but all lives matter, it doesn't hit the same way, does it now?
Mhm. We have a quick comment from Christina. She says that she really appreciates how you all have really broken down the MJ song. They really don't care about us.
Yeah.
All I want to say is that they don't
really care about us.
Okay, hee that way. So we're a little over time, but
wow by Kim. Thanks, Kim. I think Jermaine's beating up somebody.
no, I don't think he's beating up anyone.
No, well, he should.
Okay,
We're
but
gonna do that because we got until 5 o'clock to get to the Waffle House and
right, they have to do that. But just again, we are just trying to keep up with my producing duties.
all right. Well,
Um,
I'll go ahead and help you with that. Thank you, everybody, for another week of Head to Head with Brian Parker. It got very, very heavy at the end when talking about Palestine and Israel. It's going to be one of those things that we constantly keep making people aware of. You know, share your comments with us if you feel strongly about certain things for or opposed to what we said. Hey, we will listen to it. But at the end of the day, hey, we know what we're talking about. Anyway, for Jermaine, the franchise, for Lori Parker, I'm Brian Parker. Thanks for joining us. We'll see y'all again next week. Y'all be safe. Thanks.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda.